Hi guys, from this month's BBC Good Food magazine, I made this addictive hot and sour prawn and sweet corn soup, and it was as healthy as it was delicious, and I made it from the cooking broth from this beautiful one pot Cristal chicken. You can find the link to that video in the description below. So I started this recipe by cracking 2 eggs into a bowl and adding a teaspoon of toasted sesame seed oil, and then whisking that all up until it's all nice and evenly combined. Then set that aside until later. Now take a thumb-sized piece of ginger, peel it and cut it into julienne strips or matchsticks. Now the recipe says to do the same with half a red chilli, but because this red chilli is so tiny, I'm just going to use the whole lot of it. I will get rid of the seeds though, because I am a bit of a wuss when it comes to heat, but leave them in if you like it really fiery. Now add them to a bowl and set aside until later. Now the recipe calls for half a pack of tofu, but to be honest, I can't see myself using the remaining half anytime soon, so I'm just going to use it all rather than having half of it go off in the fridge. 349 grams is what this packet weighs, so if you want, you can use half that amount. This stuff is very delicate, so handle with care and just dice it up. Now to make the soup, heat up 1.5 litres of the broth from the chicken. I also pass this through a sieve to catch all the swampy bits of spring onion and coriander. The recipe calls for cooked prawns to be used and added later, but because I only have raw frozen ones, I'm going to add them now, once the broth heats up. In the meantime, I'm going to add a teaspoon of white castor sugar, 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, and mix it up. Once the broth is hot, I'm going to go in with 150 grams of my frozen raw prawns and let them cook there until they go from that grey colour to a nice coral pink. That should probably take between 2 and 3 minutes. Now add your chilli and ginger. Give it a quick stir before you go in with your tofu and about a handful of frozen sweet corn kernels. And if you're using pre-cooked prawns, now's the time to add them. And let them all heat up for just about 2 minutes before you go in with your beaten egg. Do this by pouring the egg mixture into the soup in a steady stream while stirring to make egg strands. I'm not sure I did this right, but it tasted good, so who cares. Those eggs literally take no time at all to cook, so now the recipe says to serve by adding a little clump of bean sprouts to each bowl before pouring over the soup. But I've got no mind for that, so I'm just going to add a whole drained tin of bean sprouts to the soup now, give it a quick stir and ladle it out. The recipe also says to garnish with some shredded up spring onions, but I used all my spring onions yesterday for the chicken, so I'm using flat leaf parsley. Now just dive in and enjoy. I really hope you liked this recipe, and if you did like the video, be sure to hit the like button below and the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please let me know how you got on if you tried this recipe on social media. You'll find all the links to my social media accounts in the description below, as well as the link to my blog where you'll find this full recipe at www.rookiecook.org.